Kiyan, nobody's voting in our video of the week polls. Like, I need you to help me find some other way to market this to everybody. Like, I really don't know how.
Hey, Kiyan, I need you to sign here. Oh, we have a delivery of 650 durables.
Okay, but first,
Hey,
let's stuck in the green screen
I
again.
really need you to prove
My
this.
camera's
So
not working right now,
short.
but if you have like a cable or something.
Yeah, the printer's
I can
down out
charge
there. I
it.
was trying to print
I'm not
earlier
sure.
and it literally...
That's it! That's it! Okay, give me a second. I have an announcement. I quit. I'm going on vacation. I will BRB.
Wow, the beach looks so nice and relaxing. I should have done this sooner. Although, I kind of thought there would be more people here. I guess I should probably go film that review now. Hello Cougs, my name is Kiyan Badkoubeh and you are watching Coog Cinema Reviews. Before we begin, go ahead and take a moment to tweet us at UHCoogTV using the hashtag CoogCinemaRapidReviews and tell us what movies you want us to review. Now, they don't have to be in theaters or the most latest thing that just came out. They can be old movies. At the end of the month, we'll go through your tweets and pick some of your faves to review. Now today, we'll be taking a look at Sony Animation Studios' latest film, Hotel Transylvania 3 Summer Vacation. Wait a minute now. Do all movies just come in threes now? No, seriously, look at this. 2017 was not the year for Sony Animation Studios. They released 3 films total, 2 of them not really making much money or being any good, while the third has made its mark in history by being one of the most, if not the most, hated movies of all time. The Emoji Movie really tarnished Sony Animation's reputation, and when fans found out the next movie scheduled for release was the third installment to Sony's only slightly successful franchise, Hotel Transylvania, there wasn't really much excitement over what Sony Animation Studios was planning next. Can Sony Animation Studios actually recover from the disaster that was 2017? Or will they now have a tarnished reputation and ruined one of the last remaining good things their studio did have? Let's find out. Hotel Transylvania 3 Summer Vacation is the third installment in what many consider to be Sony Animation Studios' most successful franchise. The story continues the adventures of the hotel-owning monster family as Mavis feels that her father, Dracula, is being overworked and decides that the best thing for the entire family is to book a family vacation cruise. In addition to being overworked, Dracula is also realizing how lonely he actually feels and begins searching for another potential soulmate to have a zing with, as they call it in the movie. Once on board the ship, things do not appear as they seem and Dracula must come face to face with an old foe. This film was actually really enjoyable to watch. There was a lot of heart in it and it was funny. The biggest thing from this movie was that the comedy was hilarious and it was just so enjoyable to watch, which is such a surprise because I was going into this movie really not having much high hopes, and especially after what I've seen a lot of different studios do with the third movie, specifically Despicable Me 3, I didn't really have much faith that they were going to do this franchise justice. I really enjoyed the first 2 films, but I walked into this one and I walked out very happy and satisfied. They really did a good job with this one. I think that it's definitely better than the second, and it's just as good, if not better than the first. The movie's biggest strength is its comedy, and not just the comedy in itself, but the way that it's written. The best way I can describe this is that, you can tell that the writers that were behind writing these jokes in the movie were actually trying. They weren't given much to work with. It is Sony and it is Hotel Transylvania, but they took what they had and they made it work. A lot of animated movies nowadays tend to just throw in stupid jokes that don't really do anything other than make little kids laugh. And in this movie, it felt different because there would be moments where the jokes would actually come from not just bits, but it was in the plot, it tied with the character developments, and the way they were written was just so refreshing that as an adult you were oh, okay, I could tell that there was passion behind what they were writing. There were several examples of this. For example, there was this one scene where they're all on this plane and it's a bunch of gremlins running the plane and they're taking them to the cruise, and it's one of the funniest scenes in the movie. A lot of the adults in the theater were laughing. Another example is I think honestly the greatest example of this is the ending climax battle. I'm not gonna say like what happens, but basically like you think it's gonna go in this really stupid route, and it actually surprises you with the cleverness that the comedy ties into it with. And then there's just one joke that I just could not. It's an example of how they like change up what the usual stupid kid humor is. So, you know, usually kids movies will throw in fart jokes and like think that it'll make the kids laugh. And so this movie has a fart joke, but what I mean by it's like the writers were actually like trying with this is they didn't just throw in a fart joke. There's like a build up to the joke, and then like when it happens, it's not just, oh, he farted, haha, that's the funny part. They like throw in a comedic line after it that that sells the joke. And like, you know, I mean, obviously it's not grade A 10 out of 10 humor, but like they're trying, and honestly for this movie, that really worked for me. As far as characters go, the movie kind of returned the focus back onto Mavis and Dracula's relationship with father-daughter. I know that the second movie kind of strayed away from that a bit with having him like take care of their child, but in this movie they go back to that. An interesting development is that we actually go back to Dracula's character, and he's, you know, having to look for a soulmate, and watching him and Mavis kind of, you know, deal with the conflict of like, you know, he wants to move on, but he's also worried that he doesn't want to hurt Mavis and make her think that, you know, he's like forgetting about her mom. But watching the way they overcome that is really heartwarming, and it really touches back to the roots of the first film where they had these emotions that really like you could connect to these characters and really like them. They did bring in a couple new characters, and the new characters were enjoyable. They were essential to the plot. They were really interesting to watch and get to know, as well as all your favorite old characters are back, and you know, they do their thing. They play the comedic roles that they all need to play, and there's a lot of great jokes surrounding a couple of them. The animation was good. It was decent. You know, it's what you expect out of a Sony animated movie. It matched the other two Hotel Transylvania movies. They didn't go down in quality. They used their animation to their comedic effect, and it did what it needed to do. And the other really cool thing that the animation did is that they explored their world a bit more. In the first movie, you know, they kind of just stick at the castle. In the second one, it's like the castle and then like maybe a couple forest scenes and stuff. But in this one, they actually like, you get to see a little bit more of their world. You know, they're going on a boat, they're doing other things. So you see that, and then the like sequences that they show off using that is kind of cool. It was like imaginative and enjoyable. I think my only critique really that was, and again, this could be just me nitpicking, but my only critique for the movie would be that sometimes certain scenes, the way they were put together, would feel a little bit where something in a scene would happen and then they would cut to the next thing. But the only reason that thing before the other scene would happen is so that they'd have a way to transition to what was happening in the other scene, when instead a simple cut to that scene that they wanted to go to anyway would have worked fine without having to have the extra stuff. And it just, at times it just made things seem pointless. But I mean, that was just, again, me nitpicking. It wasn't really that distracting from the overall enjoyment of the movie. That pretty much really summarizes my thoughts on the movie. It was really enjoyable and a great laugh. It's a great family film, so go watch this with your family. Definitely go watch it in theaters, especially if you're a fan of the first two films, then I know you're gonna enjoy this one. I would give it a solid 6 out of 10. It's like above average for the comedy, but it's not, you know, it's not just an average film. Leave a comment down below letting me know what you thought about the movie and what your favorite moment from Dracula was. If you want to see more Coog Cinema reviews, like Coog TV on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. Click the little notification bell so that you can be notified every time we upload a review. If you haven't already, check out our last Coog Cinema review for Sorry to Bother You, and if you're craving more animated reviews, check out our latest review for Incredibles 2. The links will be in the description. Thank you for watching Coog Cinema Reviews. I'm your host, Kiyan Badkoubeh, and I will see you guys next time.